Hi, Mike's Carburetor Parts. I have this Rochester 2-jet, 2-barrel carburetor that I want to rebuild, and I need a carburetor kit for it. So first thing I need to figure out is which kit, and then we have like 25-30 different kits for the 2-jets. So what's important is the carburetor number. Now on the 68 and later, which this is, Rochester was good enough to stamp the carburetor number on the float bowl right here. Now earlier than 68 they didn't stamp, they did stamp a number on the float bowl, but that was just a casting number and it won't help. So right here is your carburetor number. Now prior to 68 they used a tag which they screwed onto one of these screws on top, and they're often missing. So if you don't have the tag, you're kind of in trouble. But there are ways to figure out which kit. Just looking at the outside of the carburetor, typically that ain't going to do it. So what you're going to have to do, and where you don't have a tag and it's prior to 68 where it's not stamped on the float bowl, you will have to take the carburetor apart and start matching up parts with what we have in our pictures, or send us the pictures and we'll try and help you out there. So first thing we need to do is start taking it apart. And remember, whenever you take your carburetor apart, take a lot of digital pictures. So I mean, I do that at times because, just for instance, you know, this is kind of complicated here, so knowing which way something goes on is going to be helpful down the road. So let's start by disconnecting some of the rods here. We want to get the float bowl off the top. Oh. We just got to get enough stuff off of it here to this is like a jigsaw puzzle sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to take these screws out. What we need is pictures of all the gaskets, the accelerator pump, and also we will need the sizes on the accelerator pump, and I'll show you how to do that once we get it out here. Accelerator pump is really important on these because sometimes that's the only difference in a couple of different kits. Now, kits are not interchangeable. I always get questions, you know, what's the difference in the kits? Well, the difference is one fits a certain number of carburetors and another kit fits another set of carburetors or carburetor numbers. So if you don't match a carburetor number, then it's a guess. It's not like buying an oil filter where one filter fits several years and several engines. Carburetors, even one engine can have a different carburetor depending on whether it's an automatic or a manual choke, or automatic manual transmission. Let's see. Take the fast idle cam off. That's the fast idle cam. Okay. And Alright, now this one's a little more complicated than the older two jets. The older ones don't have quite as many parts to take off, so let's get the accelerator pump out, since that's what we need to know about. Okay. A little clip holding that on. Alright, so the pump, the measurements you need are the diameter of the cup. Now most small blocks are 21/32 on the two jets, and the big block, the 400s for example, will probably be 3/4 inch. So it'll be one of those two. So use your measuring tape and get as most accurate you can. And 21/32 is pretty close to 5/8. The other measurement we need is the overall length, right there. So here you need, this is a decimal, so you need like a 2.13 inch, something like that. That's what that's going to be. So you match that up, you want to be sure you get the right pump. It is easy to get the wrong pump in these things, and from then on you're going to have trouble. You'll never know which pump to put in it without the carburetor number. So there you go. So you need a picture of this. This is your float bowl gasket. That'll help you get it down to certain kits. Take a picture of your mounting gasket. If you don't have that, or if you lost that already, you can take a picture of the bottom of the carburetor. That will help. But the mounting gasket you want to match up. And get this loose. We'll take the throttle body off. Now there are a lot of other parts to this, but I'm just telling you, trying to illustrate which ones you need to narrow the kits down. Do a little homework and you get the correct kit. Okay, this one is kind of important. Okay. Now all of this is assuming you got the right parts on this to begin with. Doesn't always happen. You get a remanufactured carburetor. Boy, they sometimes will change the top around. They'll have a different top, which may require a different gasket. Not going to go down that road. It's that's kind of a nightmare, but that's what you have to deal with sometimes. So picture of that. Picture your float bowl gasket, your mounting gasket on the bottom, and then your accelerator pump with those measurements, the width in inches using your ruler of the cup, and then the overall length of the pump. Now on the overall length, they can vary a little bit because these are different with some manufacturers. This is what changes a little, and it doesn't matter. This part just sticks down at the bottom. It's where the cup goes that matters. And since I mentioned the cup, be sure you polish the inside of this whale with crocus cloth to get it nice and smooth in there. Your gasoline now doesn't have much lubricant in it, so you got to get that going really smooth. Otherwise these things are going to curl over, and you're gonna have trouble there. So just want to point that out. Okay, so that should get you to finding the correct gasket. Once in a while the Venturi gasket could make a difference, but chances are no, if you match everything else up. but you can use this for another hint. And there's your gasket here. So you want to match that up. That's it. All right. Good hunting. Thank you for watching.